What up, fam? Today we are talking about how if you want to stay creative and you want to do all that God has called you to do, you need to slow down. It's kind of like slow motion, but I made it myself. Yeah. Last week, Chelsea and I went to New York City, and it was an amazing experience. I love New York. I love the culture. I love the people. I love that you can enjoy so many amazing foods in one city. It's absolutely amazing. But in the busiest city in the United States, probably, I ended up realizing that I need to slow down. And there's a few reasons. Reason number one is I had zapped my creativity. I have this idea most of the time that if I work harder, I'm gonna produce more. And the truth is that that's not always the case. Sometimes we need to slow down. Sometimes we need to trust God. Sometimes we need to be okay with doing the very best that we can and then leaving it with God so that He can do the rest, that we can only do so much. And I had really gotten into a bad habit of thinking the harder that I worked meant the more creative I would be, the more money that I would make, the better quality things would be. And that's really just not the case. I actually ended up becoming less creative. I was putting out content that I wasn't happy with. And after spending time slowing down, after spending time in a new city where everyone moves at warp speed and just saying, you know what? That's not me. I'm on vacation. I'm going to slow down. I'm going to take some time to actually be refreshed. That I came back and I feel so much more creative. I feel so much more capable of being able to create videos, create awesome content for companies and for myself and for you guys. And, you know, if you have not taken some time to slow down lately, slow down. You're going to be way more creative if you take the time to just slow down. Another reason why I think it's really important to slow down is when you are moving fast in life, you can easily lose perspective. For instance, while I was in New York, I realized that my priorities were totally messed up. The major thing that I had been focusing on was my new business and making money. And those things are terrible things to put your focus on. If I put my focus on those things, I had no peace, I had no security, and the truth is, so many people do that, and you might be doing that. And so when I was able to slow down, it gave me a chance to take a step back and to get some perspective and really take a look at my priorities. And so now I've been able to prioritize my life in the way that it should be, that God is number one, my wife is number two, my kids are number three, my business is down the line rather than the most important thing in my life. And because of that, I feel like I'm gonna have so much more peace. I feel like if I do what God's calling me to do, He's gonna provide, versus being so stressed out, taking every job that I possibly could, doing everything that I could to make more money, doing everything I could to provide for my family, and instead saying, you know what? I need to put my priorities in place. I'm gonna put God number one. I'm gonna put my family next. And then if I do that, everything else is gonna fall in place. It reminds me of Matthew 6:33, where He says, seek first the kingdom of God and all these things will be added unto you. That's what He's talking about. If you seek Him, if you get your priorities in order, He takes care of the rest. And that had been messed up. And if you slow down, you're going to be able to get some perspective that you probably really need. think maybe the biggest reason why God had to show me that I need to slow down is because sometimes God just has to show us that he is God and we are not. That's just the truth. One of my favorite stories in the entire Bible is about Abraham. And Abraham was promised by God that he would have more descendants than he could ever even count. And a ton of time goes by, and Abraham starts to doubt. He still doesn't have a son. He feels like he's getting too old to have a son. He knows that his wife is too old to bear a child, and so he starts to doubt. And God comes to Abraham and he says, hey, come outside. So Abraham leaves his tent, he walks outside, and I just picture on the mountainside. Have you ever been camping when there's no cities anywhere near and you look up into the sky and there's just a sky filled with stars? So he's in Israel, there's no big cities, there's not lights, there's not anything that is corrupting the atmosphere. And so he looks up into the sky, and I can't even imagine how many stars there are. And God says to Abraham, okay, go ahead, count those stars. Tell me how many there are. And Abraham, I just imagine him looking up there and going, okay, 1, 2, 3, and he counts as far as he can, and then he loses count. And so he starts over and he goes, okay, start over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He counts as high as he can. He loses count, and he does that over and over and over again until he's so exhausted that finally he goes, I can't do it. I can't count. And God says, that's right. You're going to have more descendants than that. I told you that. I promised you that. And sometimes God has to do something drastic to help us realize that he is God and we are not. And we might not understand, but he has everything under control. And I know that right now I'm in a season where I have a lot of doubt and I have a lot of fear, and I don't know how God's going to provide. I don't know what's happening sometimes. And there's just a lot of strange things going on in our world. And so it's really easy to doubt. And so here's my encouragement to you. Slow down and trust that God is God. Trust that he's got you. He understands what you're going through. He loves you. He cares about you. He is going to take care of you. Thanks for watching. If you liked this episode, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll catch you guys next Wednesday. Love you. Peace.